Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I was going to go over 4 movements today that I like to use with my clients that I've kind of developed over years of trying to fix my posture and strength to get back to running, being athletic, etc. Coming off of a lot of years of doing bodybuilding, powerlifting style movements ultimately led me to a lot of impingement, tightness, and then when I would go back to try to do activities that I would actually enjoy, I would have issues or get injured. So these are all things that you need minimal equipment for that you can do at home, or besides the back extension, which you can find at most gyms, and they're pretty inexpensive if you want to get one for yourself. But what we're going to do is cover the abs, the external hips, the internal hips, and then as well as your posterior chain lower back. So a couple things will be left out, but this is a great start for anyone that's having issues when they run, or whether you're just going to be athletic, or even at one point, I struggled to walk over a mile without getting a ton of tightness in my hips and low back. So the first one that we're going to go over is the outside hips, and the best one that I have found for this is the 90-90 hip stretch, and everyone kind of starts at a different place with it. But what most people get wrong is how they set it up. So most people kind of have their foot way back here, or they have their foot in too far. So I want you to bring it up till it's about the same level as your hips. And the best way to get it to turn on at the beginning is to just do some raises like so. And if you can see, I'm going to keep my heel planted in the ground as I come up and just really try to contract all of these smaller muscles. Normally about 5 to 10 is a good start. If you're cramping, that means you are working the right muscle. It hasn't contracted well in a long time, so when it finally does, you'll want to cramp up. But that is a good thing. That just means you're working the muscle properly. And because it hasn't been worked, it's just deciding to cramp on you. So it's not an issue. So from here, if you can feel it well, then we move to something more difficult, which I keep my knee on the ground, and then I will raise my back foot up. And that's gonna be working more of the glute medius. You'll still feel it in that hip as well. But same thing, about 5 to 10. And these are just the progressions. The lift is 1, this is 2, and then a straight leg would be number 3 here. So just coming out and in, and you can hold, you can do reps and lifts. Any way that makes you feel it is proper. So that is number 1. And then over time, you'll do the other side, obviously. And then you want to master the ability to be able to switch between these in a fluent way. So you don't want a lot of popping. You want everything to be fluid. The better you can transition between these, the better your hips are going to feel. So that was the outside hips. The inside hips, the adductors, are ones that are very tough for people to get to. And the best way that I've found to work the internal hips, if you don't have one of those adductor machines that you would at a gym, is a Pilates ring. So once again, most guys don't want anything to do with Pilates, but once you get injured, once you can't run anymore, once you see that you're aging quicker than your actual age, you'll be open to anything. So when I was in a ton of pain, I knew I had to figure out a way to be able to work my adductors. And all this ring is, it provides some resistance as you bring it in, and you can actually use it not only for the inner hips, but all of these inner clavicle muscles, even to the neck, that all get tight, that you don't just work when you're benching, but actually if you bring them in, you'll realize they contract and turn on. So we're gonna do the same thing with the hips. And all we're doing is find some place that you can sit down, and then you just put it in between your legs, and then you're just squeezing it. Once again, you can do a mixture of reps, squeezes, and holds, it takes a little while for these muscles to turn on, just like the outer hips, because you really don't use them that much. And the more time that you spend in this sitting hunched over position, those muscles are just going dormant, and then when you need to do something with high recruitment, sprinting, running, etc., you're gonna feel it, the issues go down to your knees, your ankles, your low back. So if you don't do it, it's just gonna catch up with you down the line. So all you're doing with this one is just putting it in between your legs and squeezing it. But many people neglect the adductors, and if you are constantly having problems, you need to learn to address the adductors. So the last one, not the last one, second to last, is gonna be the lower back. And this one is very simple. You've probably seen a back extension before, but the first step for this one is to just be able to get some blood flow to the area. So a good way to do that is to just start off with a hold. And normally if you can do 1 minute to 2 minutes, that's a pretty solid start. Then you can start going into full reps here, all the way down, and just coming back up. This is one I've really implemented for myself a lot more over the last 2 years, from a ton of years of deadlifting and doing other things that slowly made me really tight. Once you go into getting more athletic again, it becomes less about how much weight you can throw around and more about how well you can control each movement. So you need to get to the level where you can do this for quite a while, even getting up to the 50, 60 rep range, and you can slowly start in to add weight. But there's many different ways to do the back extension depending what you want to emphasize. But for most people, just the regular back extension, actually getting those muscles to turn on again is going to be what you need. So think about it when you're sitting. This angle right here is being reduced. So most people, when they go to sit up, they're still stuck in this angle. Then the low back has to compensate to get them back upright. So this is going to be a combination of stretching out your back and then strengthening it in the right places. Many people go the inversion table route. They feel tightness in their back, and then they want to stretch it out, and that is not going to fix the problem. That is going to make you not feel stiff for a couple minutes, but then it's going to come right back because your lower back does not have the trust in the muscles and the tendons to actually be able to get into these positions and not have you get hurt. So they have to tighten up so that if you do make an awkward movement, you're not going to blow your back out. So this is going to be the easiest, most primary way to reverse out of this sitting hunched position that everyone tends to spend a lot of time in. So the last one is also very simple. You're just taking the sitting position once again, and we're putting you on your back. So what that is going to do is put me in the exact position that I am weak in, which is your core. And the first one to get good at for the core is the hollow hold. It seems very basic, but once again, you need to be able to hold the positions that you're trying to get good at. And you need to start to develop that connection between the abs and the hip flexors. When they're working independently, you're going to have issues. So this is the first regression. You want your lower back to be completely flat on the ground, and you raise your shoulder blades. And then over time, you want to get your legs straighter, closer to the ground, and your hands come back. And it doesn't take long before you start shaking. So once again, all of these different movements are to directly attack weaknesses that come from sitting too much. Over time, all of those weaknesses compound, and they're going to make you sedentary. And most people are driven off momentum, so the worse you feel, the more sedentary you're going to want to be. The more sedentary you're going to want to be, the more you're going to reach for external things to make you feel better, which for a lot of people is food, entertainment, scrolling, etc. So instead of trying to keep going down the line of doing all of the, gym bro powerlifting stuff, that's just going to compound your issues. So take a small proponent of that time and just put it into what's actually going to help you. You can throw all these into a circuit, do it 3 times. How many reps, how many sets? When you feel it and you can't do anymore, that's enough. You don't have to go to absolute failure. There's a difference. Most of these are going to get your circulation coming back, so go for the burn on a lot of these. Keep track of what you're able to do, but you don't have to beat your score every single day. Just think about getting good reps into the bank. The more good reps you can log, the more trust these joints are going to get back to you, the less tightness that you're going to have. So recap, number 1 that we did was the external hips. That was the 90-90, where we started with the hip openers, then you raise the heel, and then you hold the side angle. Number 2, that was the Pilates ring. All we're doing is squeezing with our adductors. This one's very high rep. If you can get to 50 or 100, do 50 or 100. Number 3, the back extension, very simple. Just raising up, creating that trust within your lower back. And when people have issues or other weaknesses, they're not going to be able to get it from a deadlift or an RDL because they have so many other weaknesses. Your body's good at compensating, and you're just going to compensate your way through the whole lift, but over time, this will lead you to injury. If you have a good range of motion and you can feel everything working correctly, and then you want to go into lifts like that, that's not an issue. But when you first are sedentary and then you get, I want to get back into shape, so then you get on a regular lifting program or a powerlifting program, you're not addressing your weaknesses. So you're starting from a broken foundation. So you need to take a different approach if you actually want to progress. Instead of doing the 3 months off, 3 months on, 3 months off, 3 months on type of deal, you're just going to stay in the same place. So you have to switch your approach a little bit. And then the last one is the hollow hold. We're just taking that sitting position that everyone's stuck in, placing you on your back so gravity is working with you, and strengthen your core. And the last one, if the hollow holds are pretty easy for you, once again, most people will need to do it for a little while before they can progress. But the next one that you can get good at after the hollow hold, the next progression, is the hollow rock. So you're just going to be coming up, coming back down, and being able to hold that posture while you rock back and forth. Once again, if you can get to about 50 reps of doing that, you're in a good spot. And you're going to notice that once you start getting good at these movements, then when you go back out for a run, a walk, a sprint, or you start jumping again, they're going to feel a lot better on your body, and you're not going to be constantly worried about getting injured. So these movements will help you. Swap them out from some of the movements that you've currently been doing. And don't be afraid to kind of get away from that typical cookie cutter bodybuilding, powerlifting type of program, because those things are going to make you into a fridge. That's all that's going to do. And if you're not getting paid for it, there's no point. You want to be able to keep your movement, keep your rhythm, keep your flow from activity to activity. So I don't want to be the guy that can squat 500 pounds, but I can't run a mile in under 15 minutes. I want to be able to be very diverse. If I want to play pickup basketball, I can do that. If I want to go jump, I can do that. If I want to sprint, I can sprint. I can twist. I'm not worried about only being able to perform in the gym. I want to use the gym to help me perform everywhere else. So I feel like the mainstream fitness gets it completely backwards. And funny enough, then you just end up on the surgery table, which gives you less mobility. So that's what we want to stay away from. Keep you moving well so you can do the activities that you love and feel good while you're doing it. Simple.